Hello everyone and welcome back to my favourite room in the house. I've got the day off today and I'm supposed to be resting up and taking care of myself, but I got to be honest, I couldn't resist the temptation to film another video. And I thought I'd continue my series on different coloured G.I. Joes. So here are the top 10 G.I. Joes in my collection that are the colour blue. There's some real good ones here, so I hope you're ready. Let's go. The first figure on my top 10 list of G.I. Joe figures in my collection that are blue is this guy. It is 1989 Shockwave. Now, Shockwave is the Detroit policeman, and when I was a kid, my dad was also a policeman, so when I look at Shockwave, he kind of teleports me back to my childhood. He's also a really good use of two different shades of blue in this really attractive urban camo design. So there he is, it's 1989 Shockwave. The next figure I wanted to talk to you about is 1987 Gung Ho. I didn't have this figure when I was a kid, but I can clearly recall the two lads down the road from me did, and anytime I went down there to mess around with their G.I. Joes, this guy really captured my imagination. I'm not sure why, but I think I can put it down to the fact that he is wearing his marine dress blues, which was something kind of different for the 1982 to 1994 run of G.I. Joe. He's a fantastic use of the colour blue, and he's right at home in the run, even though he is a little bit different, and it's 1987 Gung Ho. The next figure I wanted to talk to you about is a favourite of many G.I. Joe collectors, and it's none other than 1985 Shipwreck. Now, Shipwreck is one of my favourites because he was a central character in the Sunbow cartoons. He is one of the characters that made that cartoon so great. And I have heard stories about his voiceover artist, Neil Ross, basing the voice on that of Jack Nicholson. He's a fantastic character and he's an even better figure, particularly with his little pet friend Polly. So that's 1985 Shipwreck. The next figure on my top 10 list of G.I. Joe figures in my collection that are the colour blue is also another man of the sea, and it's 1984 Cutter. Now, I got to admit, when I first started collecting G.I. Joes as an adult, I didn't even know this figure existed. But when I spotted him in the Belomo guide, I knew I had to have him. And that's for one simple reason, the Boston Red Sox baseball cap. At the time, my favourite baseball cap was a Boston Red Sox baseball cap. I'm not a Red Sox fan, I just liked the way the cap looked on my head. So I had to have this version of Cutter because of that cap. It's a beautiful touch and is a beautiful use of the colour blue. It's 1984 Cutter. The next figure to make my list is from the same year as Cutter, and he's another favourite of many collectors. He's the first Cobra to make the list, and that's 1984 Scrap Iron. Now, Scrap Iron is a fantastic sculpt, and he has a fantastic combination of colours. But for me, the thing that really sets him apart from other figures is this missile launcher, which must have been awesome for kids to play with back in the 80s. He's a fantastic figure. That's 1984 Scrap Iron. The next figure on my top 10 list of G.I. Joe figures in my collection that are the colour blue is also a Cobra. And he is the biggest, meanest Cobra of them all. None other than Cobra Commander. And before I put him on screen, I bet you're wondering whether I've selected the helmet version of Cobra Commander or the hood version of Cobra Commander. Well, I'm sorry to say, I only have the hooded version in my collection. Until I get a helmeted version, the hooded version will do me just fine. He is a fantastic evil mastermind, and he's a beautiful looking blue figure. That's the hooded Cobra Commander. Now, where would Cobra Commander be without some more of his famous evil henchmen? And throughout the 1982 to 1994 run of G.I. Joe, there were plenty of great army builders to choose from. But my favourite is from probably the best year of G.I. Joe, 1986, and it's this guy, the 1986 Viper. He is a fantastic sculpt and a fantastic use of that blue colour with red and black highlights. His weapon is just right, and his helmet really pops with that splash of chrome. He's a fantastic figure. He's 1986 Viper. The next entrant on my top 10 list of G.I. Joe figures in my collection that are the colour blue is a 2-for-1 deal. And that's because I can't separate these guys. They're both as good as each other, but they're also twins. It's none other than 1985 Tomax and Xamot. Or is that Xamot and that Tomax? I'm not really sure how to tell the difference. All I know is that one of them has got a scar on his face. Perhaps you'd like to clarify in the comments below for me. Either way, these guys are a fantastic use of the colour blue, along with those red and chrome highlights we've become accustomed to from Cobra. The idea of a twin pack of G.I. Joe figures who are also twins is an awesome concept for kids to get their head around. That's 1985 Tomax and Xamot. Okay, so now it's time to talk about some figures from the 1990s, because you all know how much I love my figures from the 90s, and I wanted to show you this guy. It is version 2 Killhall. Now, the original version 1 Killhall is pretty difficult to come by because he was packaged with that massive aircraft carrier that came out in the 80s, the USS Flagg. So in the meantime, until I find one, the version 2 is a great stand-in. The original sculpt is all there, and the colours aren't too outlandish like some of the other 90s figures of the time. I also like the fact that he has this insignia on the back of his shirt. It's a nice touch. So there he is, version 2, Killhall. The final entrant on my list of top 10 G.I. Joes in my collection that are the colour blue is another 2-for-1 deal. And it's these guys. 1993 Balrog. That's the G.I. Joe version of him. And this guy. He is the Street Fighter 2 version. These are really popular both in Australia and overseas, and I feel really privileged to have them. This version here seems to be a reuse of the Salvo G.I. Joe figure, and this one a reuse of Big Boa. They're a fantastic use of the colour blue. That's 1993 Balrog. So there you have it. There are the top 10 figures in my collection that are the colour blue. Is one of these your favourites, or did I leave your favourite out? Feel free to tell me in the comments below. You might also like to like this video and subscribe to my channel if that's your thing. Otherwise, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time. Yo Joe.